to Farm Bureau, to just listening to people that had concerns. And I watched them, the same Jim Jordan I see today. He was a leader, a listener, and a fighter. We were actually elected to Congress that same year and became close friends. It was a small class. There was only 13 of us. It was one of the smallest Republican classes in modern history.
Beginning to go out, and it's due to the crisis. However, dozens of Democrats are calling for immediate action, and this could mean billions of dollars being allocated toward new stimulus programs. Now, here is some breaking news. Dozens of House Democrats have actually been calling on caucus leadership to extend the enhanced child tax credit in the lame duck session. It comes as lawmakers look to tick off more legislative priorities in the final weeks of the passing bills. And members of the new Democratic coalition, it's the largest Democratic coalition in the House, wrote a letter to Nancy Pelosi. They said that they want more stimulus payments out. They wrote a letter to Nancy Pelosi, Senator Clyburn, and Bernie Sanders. The letter wrote that lawmakers want and demand prioritizing the stimulus checks and child tax credit in a end-of-year package before 2023. Congress also said they expand child tax credit in the American Rescue Plan, a $1.9 trillion relief bill that President Biden signed just weeks into his presidency is about to happen. The measure increased the child tax credit from $2,000 to $3,600 and $3,000 for other children under 18. Congress did manage to include a form of paid family leave in the CARES Act, and it's the first legislative response to the crisis. But with the Senate narrowly leading the Republicans this time, a lack of GOP willingness to renew these benefits meant that paid family leave expired at the end of the year. The last payment with the enhanced provision was sent on December. And now, according to a study, nearly 4 million people fell into poverty in January after this provision expired. So the group of lawmakers also said that the enhanced child tax credit lifted millions of people out of poverty, giving parents the flexibility to return to work and provided families a stronger opportunity to exceed. Democrats believe that we must extend the enhanced child tax credit so families and children have the resources and opportunities to flourish. The lawmakers are also pushing for Congress to advance the research and development tax credit fix, which the new Democratic coalition said is essential to investing in American competitiveness. So the research and development, everybody, said that some domestic expenses have because of companies. A measure in the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, crafted by Republicans, enacted a provision that requires companies to seek deductions under a tax credit over 5 years, rather than after the first year. According to Democrats, the research and development tax credit has helped foster the competitiveness and innovation of U.S. economy and American businesses. So folks, now don't forget about this. If you did not receive a monthly child tax credit check and have not filed your taxes, you must do so to receive the extra money. Taxpayers can actually claim the benefit and payment by filing a tax return. However, this year's tax season ended very, very early, so you may be able to still get the money if you claim the credit by filing a return after those dates. However, since both deadlines have passed, the amount of money you're eligible for would be reduced by penalties, and refunds would be less than expected. So hopefully, everybody, we see President Biden take up and send out the stimulus payments before the end of the year.
It's an honor. It's an honor to once again participate in this critical summit. And I'd like to thank our host, President Sisi, for bringing us together at this pivotal moment. Thank you, Mr. President. Let me start by acknowledging that this day is a day of commemoration at home in the United States. It's Veterans Day. America's veterans and their families, survivors and caregivers, are the very
A trio of bills aimed at cutting property taxes for New Jersey seniors have cleared committee with bipartisan support this week. And the bills introduced by the Assembly Speaker will cut property tax in half for seniors and expand eligibility to certain health benefit programs. The main bill defines the Stay in New Jersey plan as a proposal to address lowering tax costs for seniors to ensure that they stay in New Jersey instead of going to other states where the cost of living is cheaper.
Today, we're accelerating the implementation of the Dependent Care Flexibility Spending Account, which will give military families the option to receive a pre-tax benefit for daycare, preschool, and summer camps, and much more. This order also focuses on providing resources for military spouses or entrepreneurs, like some of the folks up here on the stage will be here in a moment. That includes exploring new funding options like grants and loans to help military spouses start and sustain their businesses, and developing new resources that are going to make it easier for entrepreneurs to relocate their businesses if they have to PCS. Folks, let me close with this. Next month, we'll celebrate 50 years of the all-volunteer force. At the time, there was some debate about whether or not we could draw in talent, the talent we needed, about whether Americans would answer the call to serve. But 50 years on, we see so clearly all of you who raised your hand, all of you who volunteered, are the reason that our military today is the greatest fighting force in the history of the world, bar none. That's the reason. And the reason we've been able to sustain that force year after year, decade after decade, is because military spouses, caregivers, and survivors have answered the call as well. You have your loved ones' backs, just like they have the country's back. So the only way to keep this force strong for the next 50 after that, we keep our promise. We uphold the sacred obligation we bear to our military members, our veterans, our spouses, caregivers, and survivors. Today, I'm here as Commander-in-Chief to sign this executive order because it matters. It matters to our military recruitment and retention. It matters to our troops' readiness and resilience.
Is really experiencing a backlog of claims. We talked about this last night, which I know really got worsened during the COVID-19 pandemic. And then, of course, with the passage of the PACT Act last year, the number of benefits, veterans seeking benefits is only going to rise. So I wanted to ask you, if confirmed, what are you going to do to make sure that veterans are receiving timely responses to their claims?
Senator Murray, thank you very much for that question. When I was...
I'm so glad you're here today. You have a doctorate in chemical engineering. It's my understanding that most natural gas pipelines, and we talked about them, are not equipped to ship blends of...
A ton of views about the Ford stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, and SSDI. You don't want to miss out on this, so here it is. Gas prices are continuing to rise again, and now, many advocacy groups are urging the president to take action, executive action, and send out inflation relief checks to Americans. This could be a one-time payment for so many people. New stimulus checks worth more than $400 are going out to hundreds, if not thousands of people. The Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry announced that applicants who chose direct deposit will see their checks within 10 days. The Minnesota Governor, Tim Walz, said at the Direct Payments and News Conference on October 3rd that I'm grateful for the work of Minnesotans did to help people across the state today and stay healthy and safe through the crisis. Frontline workers are an important part of the fabric of our state and help us continue functioning during this time. The Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry announced that applicants who chose direct deposit will see their checks within 10 days. However, you could see your payment within 3 to 4 weeks if you chose to receive the compensation via debit card. Applicants who applied should have received an email informing them if they were approved or denied for the one-time payment. And the temporary commissioner of the state's labor department said that the industry